Good morning, everyone. Stay away from social media today, especially the Twitter, because liberals are big mad. Very, very big mad. Just so you can understand how big mad, well, every day for the last 2 weeks, I was thinking, wow, I've never seen liberals this mad. But then the next day came along in order to prove me that I actually can see them even worse. So after 2 weeks, there's a lot of coping, there's a lot of seething, and something really big happened yesterday. Well, apparently Elon Musk, with his Department of Government Efficiency, has realized that a program called USAID exists. And this program does a lot of things that the average American may not appreciate, both fiscally or morally. You see, the fiscal issue is that it's sending tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to foreign aid in nations that most Americans can't even point on the map. And so it's very difficult to explain to the person from Baltimore or from Illinois why hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayers are going to other nations rather to their states. But the other thing is the moral issue. You see, they're claiming that they're offering aid to foreign countries, right? Like they're helping with HIV. They're pushing for democracy. They're basically trying to help other nations. But what Elon Musk is saying is that, no, that's just a front, when in reality, a lot of the money is wasted. There's a lot of grift. A lot of bureaucrats and a lot of activists are actually pocketing the money, right? So like the American taxpayer money is pocketed by leftist activists in returns for commissions or, just simply wasting the resources. While the other part of the cash is actually going for corruption. Apparently, instead of like doing what it's supposed to do, like prevent AIDS, it's trying to do government change. It's trying to overthrow foreign government. It's trying to make the joke that the only reason there wasn't a successful coup in the United States is because the United States doesn't have an embassy for the United States within the United States, if you know what I mean. But basically, yeah, like a lot of these NGOs were doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing, unless they weren't claiming that this is what they were doing. And Elon Musk is basically saying, okay, well, we're exposing it, and we may cut its funding. So, obviously, every single grifter on planet Earth is very concerned that Afghanistan is not going to get a women's studies department through U.S. foreign aid. And they're coming out of the woodwork. And I was saying, like, if Trump shuts down USAID, we will be experiencing a level of assert that shouldn't be possible. Because, like, every single grifter, every single politician that's getting money in some way or another from this, or is benefiting from this. Again, this program was pushing censorship abroad. Was also allegedly pushing censorship for Americans. Especially a lot of anti-Donald Trump sentiment. And now that Donald Trump is in office, well, apparently he doesn't like the anti-Donald Trump sentiment being pushed by American taxpayer money. So that's a story of itself, like the levels of assert over this. But what I found interesting is this highly respectable gentleman that responded to my take with a, haha, millions will suffer, how funny, why is the alt-right like this? And so I assume that this person may be a time traveler, like someone who have managed to create a time machine that is coming to us from the year 2016 when the alt-right was still a thing. And so I thought that this is a golden opportunity that I can actually use in order to prevent the suffering of millions of people. Like, all these politicians that are grifting, all of these NGOs, these activists, these volunteers, these bureaucrats that are suffering right now, the American people have to work even harder. You have to work even more to pay them extra, right? Like the person that's a leftist activist promoting censorship with your taxpayer money, the person that's teaching women's studies in Pakistan, the person that is promoting lesbian dance mastery in Uganda, like the American worker has to devote even more energy and resources so that he produces money that doesn't go to his family, but instead goes to the guy sitting in a Starbucks at a laptop drinking soy latte. Like that is the pillar of the American society. Like that is the person that's holding it all. And so because now they're suffering, I was like, maybe I can help them, maybe I can tell this person, which is a time traveler, the solution to this existential problem. And my solution is to explain to him, it's like, look, because you fucked with our video games, right? So now, like, he can take the knowledge back in 2016 and prevent the events from happening. I seem to have gotten like the best ratio that any human being has got on Twitter, right? So like his take has 36 likes, while my take has like two massive stadiums. Like just vision this, like two massive football stadiums filled with people to the brim. That is my take. I got 2.4 thousand likes. Like that's an insane number of people. And it seems to have mind-fucked a lot of liberals, like they're coming in the comments, it's like, oh my god, but that's so petty. Just for that? Like, are you serious? And it doesn't seem like they got the memo. I don't know what's going on with their neuron connections, like is the synapse unable to fire? Like, it's not rocket science. If you actually have people that are petty and vindictive, the first thing you want to do is not fuck with them. It's that simple. Like, if you know that someone is insanely petty, you don't want to fuck with that person. It's not worth it. Why are you even involving the energy, especially if they're leaving you alone? But if you're going to develop energy and resources in order to fuck with them, well, guess what happens? See, like the thing with the gamers, and I'm not even joking about it, because I was talking about this since 2014. Thing with the gamers is that overwhelmingly they were apolitical. Like a lot of young people that didn't even care about politics, like they were just addicted to playing video games. But like some of them may have been political. Let's assume that some of them were actually fascists. And the left had like various articles and various actual movements that they called no pixels for fascists. I'm not kidding. Probably another government grift. I don't know if it was USAID or UK aid or whatever the fuck, but like there was actual government money involved into pushing for no pixels for fascists. And I was thinking like, okay, you got these people that you consider them to be fascists, and they're leaving you alone. They're not organizing into movements, they're not creating NGOs, they're not even voting. They don't even go out to vote, they just sit there and play video games. And you decide to go there, insult them, humiliate them. And most leftists, like unironically, they believe that by doing so, they will get the people that are politically uninvolved to suddenly start supporting leftist causes, right? Like by pushing social justice in video games, because this is what it's about. By pushing the woke message into video games, people who are politically neutral all of a sudden will become woke. And the people that are fascists, well, all of a sudden, they will stop being fascists because they will realize, well, I need to change in order to be able to have access to my pixels. Like, there were millions of dollars pushed into this. And so, what actually happened is that the people who weren't politically involved, when you bombard them with messages from your ideology, they developed spite and hatred towards the ideologues, because it's like, well, they're taking away my circus. I done nothing to them. Why are they doing this to me? I behaved nothing but tolerant and accepting towards them. Like, I allowed them to do whatever they wanted. But now they're not leaving me alone. Now they're in my bedroom, in my computer screen, lecturing me about pronouns and shit. And I didn't ask for this. I didn't behave like that towards them. I didn't push my ideology on them. Why are they doing it to me? And so, like, they're like, okay, who do these people hate? What do these people stand against? Because that's what I'm going to support. And the other group, you know, the fascists, well, they weren't organizing, they weren't creating NGOs, they weren't doing activism, well, because they were playing video games. You took that away from them. Guess what happens? And so, like, this person, Nate, also articulates it really nicely by saying because video games made it clear that there was nothing small enough to escape their destructive praxis, that there was no wanting to be left alone. All is political was a declaration of intent. Like, yes, they actually said this. Everything is political. We will make everything political was the actual statement behind it. You're right, you made everything political, literally. So now when there's a game, a video game coming out, and it's got a black character in it, people make it political. They actually worked for this. Like, there were millions of taxpayer money involved into getting this mindset into people. Well, congratulations, you got it. But the effect that you're also getting is not the one that you desire. And so the idea that any ideology that starts fucking with video games is inherently wrong is something that I genuinely believe, not because video games are important, but because it's an ideology that is so intrusive, it just doesn't allow people to be left alone. It doesn't allow people to say, you know what, like, you can do you, but leave me alone. Like, we're not related by blood. You don't know who I am. You're not my neighbor. We don't even live in the same community. Why are you on my computer screen preaching me your values? I think that your values are shit, but I was allowing you up until now to practice them. Yet you make it your point to not leave me alone, so now I need to start investing my energy into fucking with you constantly. And that's pretty much what's happening, right? Like, any ideology that fucks with video games, I think, like, video games are the benchmark, honestly. Again, it's not about the video games, but it's when an ideology happens to get to that point, it reaches the level where it, like, is so concerned with what people are doing in their private time, in their entertainment, and they somehow rationalize or justifying it. Yeah, that ideology is going to get a severe backlash. Because it's too Karen in nature. It's Karenism. That's the whole issue. Like, you're Karenizing your ideology to the point where you're having to lecture and be morally concerned about the type of entertainment and fiction that people do in their own free time. And so you're going to get the backlash. And this is it. And I had, like, a lot of interesting complaints. It's like, well, you're saying that because people fucked with your video games, you elected Hitler. And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't think Trump is Hitler. But secondly, yeah, you know, maybe if people didn't fuck with his paintings, he would have still stood in art school and painted. It's kind of difficult to have a political career and be a painter at the same time. So, like, all I'm saying is that the butterfly effect may actually be real. Like, just small movements here and there can lead to disastrous consequences. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.